Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and I'm kind of riled up today. I generally try not to let the things people comment on my videos bother me. And if you want to come on and tell me I don't know what I'm doing or I'm stupid, fine, it doesn't hurt anything. And me convincing you doesn't change anything. So there's really no point in getting worked up about it. But I am worked up today. And it's because the last few days I've had some videos go semi-viral and get like tens of thousands of views in a day, and I'm getting the same comment over and over again, and I don't feel like I can just let it slide. And the videos that I'm talking about show me cutting down big, beautiful trees, and people are basically saying I'm destroying the environment by cutting these trees down. And you can just read one comment and immediately tell that they have no idea what they're talking about. Now, I'm not an expert at all on forest management, but there are a few things I do know and I think you need to know. So if you're criticizing me for cutting down a tree, I'm going to send this video directly to you and at least let you hear what I think about it. So, this is where I live. This is my property. If you live somewhere that doesn't have any trees, I don't expect you to understand this. If you've lived in a city your whole life, you don't get it. And that's okay. We're all ignorant. I'm ignorant of a lot of things. And the best we can do is try to learn something all the time. So, I did a little search before I started recording this. Every single day, 42 million trees are cut down. Every day. So before we get into forestry management, let's make it perfectly clear. With a chainsaw, I cannot have any effect on the oxygen produced by trees on this planet. Completely incapable of that. What I am capable of is being a good steward of my land and making good use of the resources that are here. Now, I assume most of you live in a home that's built with wood and you own things that are made of wood. So you'll recognize on some level that we need lumber and wood to build our society. And there are responsible and irresponsible ways to harvest that wood. Now, this tree right here, if I cut it down and saw lumber out of it, I have not damaged the environment. It's not providing a whole lot of shelter. I'm not going to run out of trees. If I decided to pay a company to completely clear cut all this, and then I covered it in rock and didn't let anything grow there, that's a net negative. It's not destroying the planet, but it serves no purpose. What a good steward of the land attempts to do is provide habitat for the animals that live here and make use of the natural resources in a responsible way. So let's walk up into this wooded area and just talk about what responsible forest management looks like. As we start up into the hill here, I want to say first kind of where I'm a little bit ignorant and trying to educate myself is there are a lot of species here that I cannot identify. The types of grass, the types of trees, the thorn bushes. I don't fully understand everything growing here, and I really should as a property owner. But what I can say is that some of these things might be invasive species. And all of these organisms, all of this plant life that's living here is competing with each other and trying to choke each other out. And what's winning is these giant trees up here. And those provide a canopy, and if you have too many of them, it can be a canopy that doesn't allow any new trees to grow healthy. So let's say we've got a big tree right here. Actually, I'm gonna turn the camera. There's an example over here. The main type of tree we have on our property is oak trees, which make great lumber. They make great firewood. And the world needs lumber and firewood. That doesn't mean that every oak tree should be cut down as soon as you find it. But what we have right here is a big tree that's got a couple of dead branches on it. It's taken some kind of damage, or it's old, or whatever the case may be. So in a scenario where you've got a lot of mature oak trees forming a canopy across the top, it doesn't make room for smaller trees to come up. And eventually, this tree will die and fall over, and the trees that grew under it will not most likely be as nice and healthy as that one, unless we do something about it. So, the right thing to do is to identify the trees you want and the trees you don't, and maybe cull a percentage of the trees when you start to notice that they have an issue with them. So, if that tree begins to die, it will rot through the middle. Now, it's blocking sunlight for the trees under it to grow. Trees cannot grow and be healthy when they're packed too close together. So the ideal thing here is to notice trees that are towards the end of their lifespan, cut those down, thin out the vegetation under them, and leave just a handful of new trees to become your mature trees. That's the most very, very basic concept of forest management. And it's a lot more complicated than that because it depends on, are you producing trees to harvest once every 20 years? You go in and take anything over 10-inch diameter, and then come back 20 years later, you'll have a new patch of trees that are over 10-inch diameter. And you can just continue that cycle and have a healthy wooded area, and it's still producing oxygen. You're not hurting the environment, but we are harvesting lumber out of it before those trees die and rot. The other approach that a lot of people take, which is equally important, maybe more important, is wildlife habitat. And that's the part that I don't have as good of an understanding on. But I know that your wildlife do not want an entire area just covered in thorn bushes. Every single night I see deer out here. I'd say on an average night, if you spend 1 hour sitting in my front yard, you will see 8 to 10 deer. And I see everything else you can think of out here. We have a responsibility to leave habitat for them. But additionally, where I live, on my property, we have all of this area, but then there's another 60 acres surrounding me of just completely untouched woods. Beautiful wildlife habitat everywhere around me. So if I decide to take a few of these trees, it's okay. I promise you it's okay. So if you're mad at me, be mad. But there's nothing wrong with a guy cutting down some trees with his chainsaw. Sorry for having a bad attitude in this video, but I'm trying to share information with maybe people who've never spent any time in the woods and haven't really given it much thought. So I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. I'll put links over here to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.